want to thank everyone for joining us, and I want to introduce you to our CEO and co-founder of DataMotion, Bob Janacek. Thanks for joining us. And what he's going to do is kind of talk about that missing customer communication channel being secure communications, and how this may be lacking in your current omni-channel customer experience strategy. So go ahead, Bob.
Well, very good. Well, thanks, Christian, for joining a fireside chat on an 85-degree day in New Jersey. I was saying before, there's a real fireplace behind me, but I'm not going to put it on. The air conditioning is barely keeping up as it is. So one thing that we've seen in the marketplace is omnichannel is really taking off. And as Christian said, there's a really big channel that's missing around customer communication, especially as it relates to sensitive data going back and forth between the customer experience and the contact center. So we'll go over that a little bit here on how we're plugging that hole for customers that handle sensitive data. And of course, it doesn't even move now. Okay, let's do it that way. Okay. So as you all know, in the customer contact industry, a strong omni-channel strategy pays off. A lot of companies have moved to an omni-channel strategy, and the payback is directly related to how well the strategy meets the needs of their customers. So some stats on the right that you could take with you. Almost 90%, 89% of companies that have a strong omni-channel customer engagement strategy, they retain 89% of their customers, whereas those that have a weak customer engagement strategy only retain 1/3 of their customers. That's a huge difference. It really shows that it's important to invest in an omni-channel strategy, but also one that meets the needs of the customer base. Okay, two other surveys and statistics. The percentage of companies that are competing on customer experience in 2017, only about 1/3 of companies competed and valued customer experience in the way they put their whole go-to-market strategy together. Last year, almost 60% felt that competing on customer experience was important and was an important driver of their strategy. Next year, 4 out of 5 companies, or 80%, are expected, according to this Gartner survey, to put the customer experience front and center in how they service and support their customers. So last year, DataMotion, did our own survey. So DataMotion is a secure message and document exchange company. And so we asked our customers about the top complaints that they see between their own company and their customers in data exchange. And 4 out of 10, or 39%, said that a top complaint was that there were limited ways to securely interact with their customers. The same percentage still were complaining that a lot of their workflows are still based on fax and postal mail. They haven't moved away from those legacy methods. Email encryption and the need for multiple user IDs to collaborate were also prominently mentioned as things that take away from the customer experience. Having to have customers go to multiple portals and log in to pick up messages, to pick up documents, exchange things, just adds to things being too hard for customers, especially when you look at the shift today with not only social distancing with COVID, where companies have to be really good at remote business, but also when you look at the shift of generations. You had millennials that for most of their life have had iPhones and Androids, and now you have the Gen Zers that are coming into the wave of having purchasing power, and they were born with mobile phones in their hands. So it's very important to have a seamless digital strategy, like I say, not only for social distancing, but and the demands of that. How do you do business when you can't meet face to face? But also, how do you meet the demands of a digital first customer base? And an increasing share of your customers are digital first. So overall, with an omni-channel strategy, and this represents the main channels that you see when an organization goes omni-channel. Channels are there for email, which connect to Gmail and Outlook, fax and postal mail. Chat is a channel. Social media, I want to tweet my support question, or I want to Facebook direct message. Probably more shiny object than substance, but it's a channel as well. And you have voice, right? You have phone calls and music on hold. So what's missing in this holistic view of an omnichannel strategy? What's missing is integration with the customer app or portal. That's, these channels are superficial or not existent at all in the customer app or portal. They don't enable secure document exchange, secure message exchange, compliance, with that. And companies are, especially when you look at millennials and Gen Zers, they do business with vendors that have an app experience that is polished, it's slick, like mint.com, right? They expect to have a very easy experience and a very polished digital experience with their customers, or with their vendors, with their chosen suppliers. So if we could bring the customer app or portal in to an omni-channel strategy and allow simplified and secure exchange of sensitive information between the customer experience and the system that your internal customer service agents are using. We want the experience to be native in the customer app and in the solution that's used by your agents. That's the way to get a superior customer experience and meet the needs of these more digital first users. So as an example of what this looks like, on the left here, we have our customer care agents and their solution, their browser or Windows-based just ecosystem for servicing customers. And then on the right, you have your external customer-facing portal, mobile apps that customers use to do business with your organization. So what Secure Message Center does is natively integrate with the interface that your customer care agents use, and also natively integrate with the portal and mobile app that your customers use. And it allows the secure, compliant sending. Either way, either side can initiate. Your agents can push something out to the portal, which, like a chat, in an omnichannel chat, that's impossible for an agent to initiate something out of band to the portal. And your customers can also send messages and documents in to your contact center, all natively from the systems that they're using. In our case, our solution scales to millions of users, so millions of external customers and tens of thousands of agents, all with commercial off-the-shelf APIs that are for security and compliance. So just to zoom in on what does it look like from the customer side. So this is just a mock-up of a financial services portal. And you can see on the right here, I don't know if my mouse shows up on Zoom, but the developer of this portal embedded a messaging center behind the login of their application, behind the login of their customer portal or the iPhone mobile app on the bottom. So when they have a message to push to their customer, or the customer needs to push a message or document back, it's done from the native interface where that organization has just poured hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars in. This is the face of their digital strategy, and we allow a compliant channel for the exchange of messages to be embedded into that experience. So a little bit of what happens in the real world. This is an actual graph of a system that we run for a very, very large wealth management firm. They have 2.2 million customers. They hit the messaging system at about 100 API calls a second, and very, very actively used. On the left, you can see that we're peaking at about 750 new messages or documents per hour. Okay, this is actually a live network operations dashboard. So these are messages that are being sent from customers into the contact center, or these are messages that the contact center is sending out, pushing out back, maybe as a result of an inquiry. There was some out-of-band research that had to be done. And then once the contact center had the answer, they were able to push that message into that customer's message center portal. As these messages grow, and this is from the customer's own words, as day after day, new messages are coming in every hour. It's the customer's message center, messages that they received, documents they received, and then those that they sent, those repositories keep growing and growing. So what happens is it turns into a personalized knowledge base of that customer's relationship with the organization. So you can see on the right here that it peaked, and actually my video is covering it a little bit, let's see, yeah. Peaked at 14,000 message center accesses per hour. For 750 new messages, customers were accessing prior conversations, prior messages, prior document exchanges, almost 15 times to 1 over viewing a new message. That's the knowledge base effect, where they may go back to a message that was sent a month ago or a year ago, or a document that was exchanged when they first set up the account. And they find their answers in prior exchanges. What is not shown on this slide, but what the customer told us is even though their message center usage has increased by 2x on a per customer basis in the last 12 months, customers are using it twice as much. The number of support requests that their 2.2 million customers have has dropped by 30% on the workload of that wealth management firm's agents. And they attribute that to that knowledge base effect of more and more exchanges and documents appear in each one of their customers' message centers. And that becomes a visual marker or a reference point that they go back to get their answers. That type of building this, in effect, a private channel for each customer's relationship with the financial organization, that results in more stickiness for those customers because they're a repository of documents, of exchanges. It's a touch point, a familiarity point. As that grows, the stickiness of those millions of customers increases. And so that company doesn't have a churn rate or a loss of customers. The message center not only gives a superior customer experience, but the knowledge-based aspect of it, of each person's relationship with the organization is super important.
And by the way, just to piggyback on that fact too, so that same organization, not only did the amount of messages that went back and forth doubled over since the beginning of the year, but the average size of the files that they're sending out tripled during that time frame. So pretty much since right before COVID hit, they realized that they needed to start sending documents through this system way more rather than just having somebody go in and sign a form or whatever it might be. So the fact that all of those transactions decreased the number of customer service inquiries they were getting was awesome to them.
I didn't even know that stat, Christian. Maybe I should, next time I'm going to have a third chart.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay. So a little bit about DataMotion. We provide solutions that redefine how organizations collaborate and share information in modern, secure, digital ways. We do that through APIs that scale to millions of users. They're very mature, very refined, very reliable. They allow the smallest requirement that you have all the way to very, very large scale. Any of those projects can be completed in days, and weeks, or a month, depending on how much bureaucracy has to go through, the whole project has to go through. But these are very, very rapidly deployed APIs that are not only at cloud scale, but they're also from an enterprise security. They have the security aspects and the compliance aspects to the nines. We're a multi-cloud vendor. We're a Microsoft Gold partner. We prefer Microsoft Azure, but we also have deployments in AWS, and we also have deployments that run in the customer's data center, or private cloud, let's say. We serve customers in regulated markets. So that's healthcare, insurance, financial services, government. Any organization that has sensitive data, they turn to DataMotion to not only keep that data secure while they're exchanging it in and out of their firewall to their customers and such, but also to provide that superior customer experience while they're doing it. We're used worldwide by 10 million plus users, thousands of organizations across all industries. So that's our little pitch, our little fireside chat. Didn't get too hot in here because the fireplace has been off. And if there are any questions, I'd love to help you out.
Yeah, so I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and unmute everyone who's in here now. So any questions based on some of the topics that Bob brought up that we discussed during this time?
Another example. I mean, as far as myself, it seems pretty straightforward. I mean, I was trying to understand. This is all new to me, and I didn't know that we had this kind of technology as based towards encrypting, decrypting, and just like understanding how certain companies would be interested in this.
Right. The key with security is employees don't want to deal with it, end users don't want to deal with it. They want it to just disappear into the workflow. And when you look at systems in the past, and we've all worked with savings and loan banks or insurance companies or whatever, if they need to send you something sensitive, you get a secure email from some third-party SaaS provider, and it has their co-brand on it. It takes you out of their portal, out of their app. Well, why is that? Because that provider doesn't have APIs. So now you have to go and you have to register over there, and you use it infrequently, so you always forget your password. It doesn't have single sign-on with the portal, and right away the customer experience is dropping through the floor. So, and those solutions, they're scattering the customer's relationship with the organization. Here's my mobile app and portal. Oh, but I got some stuff in my Gmail, and I got some stuff in some encrypted email system that I forgot about, and they're emailing me, or not their email, they're postal mailing me my explanation of benefits or whatever. I got piles of stuff all over the place. Well, why is that? Why can't I just have it in the palm of my hand? So we allow that just melting into the application that they use through bidirectional exchange, scales to millions, and it can hold the data for the life of the customer. All at a very high, very rapid, high speed and very high reliability. But the idea is put the customer's relationship in the palm of their hand and don't scatter it all over. especially when you look at millennials and Gen Zers, you got to get a stamp, you got to go to a fax machine. For God's sake, I have to go to my dad's office to fax something, and they don't have that anymore. And who wants to listen to music on hold? They ask a question. Why can't you just initiate it? You really have to do the business done in the customer portal or app that you're in. So it's a simple concept, just because these companies that do encrypted email, they're more built on, well, you have an Outlook button, you go to their portal, and there are no APIs. So really the mindset wasn't there that could be integrated. In our case, all of our functionality, we do have an app and we have a portal if you want to use the user interface, but that's all built on APIs that can be integrated and blended into the interface.
And I think that that's actually one thing that I'm hearing a lot from, at least from the customer base too. I would say first and foremost would be fax. Before, fax was still an accepted way of communicating back and forth because everyone had access to a fax machine, especially in the office, but nobody's in the office anymore. So you immediately go from having daily access to a fax machine to no fax machine at all. How do I send this document over that needs to be secure? So, and teaching somebody very quickly how to go somewhere or do something usually doesn't bode well. They just want to be able to do it in ways that are very natural to them. So that's what we try to enable, at least.
Yeah. Anybody else have any questions?
I actually have a question. I know a lot of cases that I've seen firsthand, but I just want, is there something high level that you can pinpoint that's really changed over the past 20 years as far as secure communications are concerned? Is there like one overarching piece that you've seen dramatically change?
Well, there used to be point solutions for everything. Like I mentioned, the email encryption. Even to today, most companies just have that as a point solution. It's not integrated with anything. There's no APIs. Kind of like the last thing to get modernized, which is what we're doing here. But as technologies mature, they converge. And we can see that in our own platform. We provide encrypted messaging, but we also allow files up to 2 gig to be. We're going to be upping the size of that significantly very soon. And we also allow electronic forms in those same seamless workflows. So email, file, forms, all converged so that depending on what the workflow is, what the business process is, if a form is appropriate, if a back-end system needs to push a file, that's where the report comes from. If a high volume statement delivery system is cranking something out, that can all be, they can all participate and they can all get pushed right into the customers, into the palm of the customer's hand. So it's about convergence. And you see this in all industries. But in general, I think that's the biggest thing I've seen in the last couple of decades. Is it was cool initially to have a point solution for this and that and the other thing, whatever. But then when you start using a bunch of them, all of a sudden it's not so cool anymore because it's complicated. And as technology is getting to more and more users, everybody has a smartphone in their hand. There's an incredible amount of technology there. But those people aren't computer science majors. They're bank tellers. They're accountants. They run the local pizzeria, whatever they are. But they have technology in their hand. You can't expect them to be technologists though and use all these different systems and be happy about it. So you want to push things, like I say, in the palm of their hand. You want them to hold the app up to their face and have them come right in, with biometric. They didn't even touch the phone, and then they're right into the experience. And so that's it's fun. It's exciting times, but that convergence and allowing more and more non-technical people to participate, I think is really where we are in the industry, and especially when we look at social distancing now and not being able to do business face to face. There's no choice. We have to make it easy. We have to make it integrated.
Any other questions that anyone has about secure communications or how that kind of works in existing workflows? Well, Bob, I want to thank you very much. This was great. I talk to you every day and I still learned a lot. But I just want to make sure that everyone knows that we're going to be here for the next, whatever the time period is, while this hall is open here. So feel free to join us, ask any questions. And we're also going to be open. When is the next period up? 3 o'clock, I believe.
Yeah, 3 o'clock, Christian, from 3 to 4, and it's open until 2:30 this afternoon. And also, just so everybody knows that the presentation that Bob gave this afternoon will be available as a PDF download in the portal. So you can get the slides if you like.
Excellent. Thank you, Monica. All right, it looks like that's about it. We have some shy folks here, but that's okay.
No, yeah, hopefully we spurred some thought on how you can deliver a better experience and win.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you do have any other follow-up questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can message me through the CCW app. You can reach out to DataMotion directly. Again, my name is Christian Grunkemeyer. It's christiang@datamotion.com if you have any questions. And thank you so much for joining. Glad you were able to make it.